Hello, Wonderhussy here in the great state of Texas. I think now I'm in the great state of Texas. It's kind of hard to say because I'm right on the New Mexico-Texas state line at an old ghost town called Glen Rio. Okay, I guess Glen Rio was one of those towns along old Route 66 that dried up over the years. You might be able to see Interstate 40 is blazing merrily along just past the trees there. Anyway, there's a few old abandoned buildings scattered about here. I think there might still be a few people living here. And there is a marijuana dispensary. A very heavily promoted marijuana dispensary. As you're driving along I-40, you see lots and lots of billboards for it. Last dispensary in New Mexico before you enter the great marijuana wasteland of Texas. I don't think, well, they sure as sugar don't have legal weed in Texas, and I don't even know if they have medical. So I guess that's your last chance to stock up. Well, I ain't no fool. I ain't trying to buy a bunch of weed and then drive into Texas, one of the most law-abiding Christian states in the entire nation. Know what I mean? I ain't trying to get thrown in the hoosgow like those guys in Easy Rider. No, I'm just driving along I-40 headed east to check out the solar eclipse. And just like I did when I was driving across New Mexico, I thought while I drive across the Texas Panhandle, that little part of Texas that pops up at the top, right, and Interstate 40 goes right over it, well, I thought I should stop at a few interesting places along the way here, too, because there's a lot of interesting stuff just off the interstate. Like this old abandoned ghost town. Now, unfortunately, most of the real cool looking old buildings down there were fenced off, private property, no trespassing, and they are definitely on the Texas side of the state line, which means they're all probably armed to the teeth, and I am not trying to get on their bad side. But over here on the New Mexico side, it looks like they're a little bit more open to trespassers and graffiti artists. I mean, there's all kinds of dumb stuff scribbled on these walls. Or, I don't know, maybe not all of it is dumb. Look at this. Don't breed. And then somebody wrote, "Too late," with a wink. Even the dumbest graffiti can make a good point. Anyway, this clearly was some kind of old abandoned motel, but gosh, the roof's missing, and I'm sure there's not going to be any interesting artifacts to poke through in here. Although I did see some kind of interesting graffiti. Oh, well, look at this. Very nice place at one time. Look at that. Don't call your ex, call your senator. Talk about words of wisdom. Anyway, I don't know if this was an old motel. This looks like an old house. Ceiling fan's still up there. I think this is the kitchen back here. Oh man, look, pantry, tumbleweed. Oh my gosh, this is very evocative. Oh, what? Okay, wow, there is some graffiti in here that I would not expect to see this close to Texas. Must be all them damn Californians moving out here. Anyway, it's amazing how good of shape these hardwood floors are in. I mean, you can tell this was probably a really nice house at one point. Or, I don't know, maybe not really nice, but kind of nice. But yeah, these tumbleweeds that are piled up in every corner. It's very, very evocative. You know, this whole part of the country was basically part of the Dust Bowl back in the 1930s when all those farms dusted out. Oh my God, look at this. Don't get all excited. It's not a dead body or anything. It's just some amazing wallpaper. Look at that. Boy, talk about flower power. Anyway, this part of the country is where the Dust Bowl happened. All these farms dried up back in the 1930s, and huge billowing clouds of dust, and people couldn't breathe. They were dying of dust pneumonia. Nobody could grow any crops anymore, and so they all had to move to California. How about that? Now a lot of them Californians are moving back. Funny how that works. Oh wow, look at the ground. Even the ground looks very Dust Bowl. It's just dust. Texas turf. Anyway, as much as I'd love to poke around these abandoned ruins all day, well, I've got a lot of miles to go, a lot of miles to cover today, and a lot of very interesting stuff to check out along the way. So I'm gonna get back in my car and keep cruising. Okay, now we're in a place called Adrian, Texas. And as you can probably see, it's right on Old Route 66. In fact, it's the exact midpoint of Old Route 66. Check this out. I told myself I wasn't gonna do all these Route 66 stops because I intend to go back and drive the entire length of Route 66 at some point and make videos about it. But there's just so many cool things while you're driving I-40 that I can't avoid them all. So they have this painted right down the middle of the road. This is the exact midpoint on Route 66 between Chicago and LA. Look at the sign. Los Angeles, 1,139 miles that way. Chicago, 1,139 miles that way. Adrian, Texas is exactly as advertised, exactly in the middle. And that seems to be pretty much the whole point of Adrian overall. I mean, there's gas station, restaurant, motel, few farms. And then I think this is kind of interesting. They got one of those old-timey windmills like you always see in the old pictures of the classic Dust Bowl farms or like Little House on the Prairie, something like that. Well, they have this old-timey windmill in front of this huge field of ginormous modern windmills. I just thought that was kind of funny. Remember these giant modern windmills? I checked one out when I was in Mojave, California, if you watched that video. And back in Mojave, they left one of the doors on one of the windmills open, so I was able to go inside and see what it looked like. Remember that? Anyway, it's real windy today, so I guess these windmills are producing a ton of energy. But before I lose my hat, I'm gonna go ahead and get back in my car and keep on rolling to the next interesting thing. Okay, this actually wasn't on my list of places to check out, and it's real windy out here, so I don't want to lose my hat. But I was driving along the interstate and I happened to see this giant peace sign, and I thought, well, golly, I'd better investigate. I mean, it's not every day you see a giant hippie peace sign in a conservative Bible Belt state like Texas. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. All these posts have dates on them. February 3rd, 1959, July 20th, 1969, August 15th, 69, August 18th, 69. What are all these dates? Let's see, what does this say? There is enough nuclear war power in the world to kill the Earth over 18 times. But all it takes is once. Oh, so I guess it's like an anti-nuke protest monument. Oh, and this sign shows how many Americans were killed during all these different wars. Look at that. World War I, 116,000. World War II, 405,000. Korea, Vietnam, Civil War, 624,511. Okay, but there weren't any nukes in the Civil War, or in any of those wars for that matter, except World War II. Then there's a very precise sign here. 1:20 p.m., February 7th, 1964. Golly, you guys remember where you were at 1:20 p.m., February 7th, 1964? Wasn't that right around the time the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show? Were you guys sitting down, making popcorn, getting ready to watch Ed Sullivan that night? Or was there some kind of horrible nuclear disaster at that time? Gosh, I'm confused. And look at this. This is even more confusing. It's a sign that says 420, which is code for pot smoking, in California anyway. And there's a pot leaf. And it looks like it's been used as a stencil. People spray painted onto like a piece of cardboard or something. I mean, you can see by the shadow that it's a perfect stencil of a pot leaf. Or for that matter, I guess this one's also used as a 420 stencil. Okay, wow, I'm confused, but I think I might be starting to figure this place out. I mean, this sign here has some lyrics from the John Lennon song, Imagine. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I gotta be honest, I am not a huge fan of that song. I used to like it when I was like 14, maybe 15, but it just seems overly simplistic to me now. But it's still a nice thought. And then let's see, what does this sign say? Striving for peace, preparing for war are incompatible with each other. And then the initials AE, I guess that's Albert Einstein. Man, what in tarnation is going on at this random park at the side of I-40 just outside Amarillo? I mean, this kind of stuff I would expect to see in Texas. American flag, POW MIA, U.S. Army, thank you veterans, U.S. Air Force, National Guard. But this, not so much. Okay, there's 2 more signs here. Just give peace a chance. And it's signed God and JL, which I'm guessing is John Lennon. Wow, I didn't realize they were writing partners. Oh, here's some more information. So right in front of the peace sign, there is the peace bench, which I guess you can sit on if you don't get blown away. And then there's a sign at the bottom of the peace sign that says, to our family and friends, it has been a trip. It has been our honor, peace and love. Lakita Joyce Baker, born April 18th, 1954, died May 4th, 2024. And Richard Daniel Baker, born June 19th, 1951, and he's still alive. So did this Baker couple erect this monument? I mean, maybe the Bakers were kind of lefties, lefties stranded in the high plains of Amarillo, trying to hang on to their hippie sensibilities in the Bible Belt. And they like their 420 and they like their peace. They like John Lennon. And so when his wife died, maybe the guy built this in her memory? I'm going completely blind here because I literally just saw this out of the corner of my eye while I was driving down the interstate. I know nothing about it. There's some stuff written in the cement. Happy, happy, infinity. I don't know, maybe these were people who helped build the park and they all signed their names. It's interesting too because there's a cross and a lot more military memorials, so it does seem like this place is sort of lefty and righty, or they're trying to appeal to everyone. Oh, look on the side of the peace sign, it says Gerald Holtom lived from 1914 to 1985, was the inventor of the peace sign. How about that? Gerald Holton, I guess the original guy who designed the peace sign. Interesting, I didn't know that. I'm learning all kinds of stuff here today. Okay, well, there's some more of these mysterious signs with dates on them. I mean, I'm guessing these are dates that people died, or maybe that people were born. I don't know. Let's just keep following this trail. Signs are getting a little more psychedelic towards the end here. Oh my God, what am I even looking at? Well, there's a cross, the old rugged cross, and there's another bench here, and this one is called the prayer bench. And it says, may peace be with you. And look at the shadow of that. Wow, that's cool. And then there's a thing of the 10 Commandments, John 3:16, under the cross. Let's see, there's a sign on the other side of the cross. It says designer R. Baker. Okay, that's the guy from the Bakers. The plasma cutter was B. Burt. And then these guys all welded this. But it doesn't say why or what's going on here. What does this sign say? There's a few more signs that might have a clue. Many religions, many names, many beliefs and races, many creeds and sexual preferences, many choices, many decisions. Boy, howdy, this does not seem like a sign you would find in Texas. I mean, I've only been here for about a day. I stayed in Amarillo last night, and I saw a lot of billboards railing against abortion, and gosh, then I saw some billboards that were warning you. It was like from a law office, and it had a gummy bear with its hands in handcuffs, and it said, busted for your buds. So I guess it's some attorney that helps you get out of jail if they bust you for traveling with magic beans or something like that. Oh my God, I gotta get out of Texas. But not before I figure out what the heck is going on at this weird site. Please remember, we all have the same creator. We are all brothers and sisters. Live in peace. Couldn't say it better myself. I actually feel like everything in this park, I mean, I'm not a big John Lennon fan, but I pretty well agree with everything in this park. Even the 10 Commandments, and especially that 420 sign. This one says, some are Baha'i, Christianity, Ekankar, Islam, Judaism, Rastafari, Sikhism, Voodoo. Dang, look, they got all these crazy religions, and the name, I guess each one's name for the creator. I guess in Baha'i they call it Bar, Christians call it God, Ekankar, which I've never heard of, is called Hu, Islam calls it Allah, Judaism calls it Adonai, I didn't realize that, Rastafari, Jah, Sikhism, oh, I didn't know the Sikhs call God Waheguru, and in Voodoo, which I love they included Voodoo, they call God Bondi. Again, I'm learning all kinds of stuff today at this random roadside stop. I sure am glad I pulled over. We have many religions in the world and many names for our creator. And that's it. No more explanation anywhere as to what this thing is or why it was erected. I mean, there is a rest area on the other side of the highway, so I mean, why would you put it over here? I had to take a significant detour to get to this place. I had to get off at the next exit and loop around and try to find it. And it wasn't easy, but I'm glad I took the time and trouble to do it because this is really interesting. I agree we should give peace a chance. And I also agree that, well, I gotta take a tinkle, so I'm gonna give piss a chance. You know, since I'm pulled over anyway, and there is this big field over here. You know, I feel like this isn't disrespectful if I do it outside the boundaries of the Peace Park. That being said, there is a farmhouse over there, and I sure don't want to end up in the Texas Hoosgow, so I better get back in my car and keep going to the next point of interest on my map. Oh, dang, there's bathrooms here. I guess I didn't need to squat in that field after all. Okay, well, I'm at the next thing I want to check out, but it's super friggin' windy out there. I mean, I guess that's why they have all these tornadoes and stuff out here. And I guess it's why they have all these windmills rolling, because these planes are windy. Okay, I'm gonna get out and brave the wind and hope I don't blow away. But I think this stop is totally worth it because look at that. Now that's a monument I would expect to see in Texas. According to their website, this cross is 19 stories tall. Like I said, everything's bigger in Texas. But it's not just this giant cross looming over I-40, which presumably lights up at night. I'll bet you anything it has neon on it. There's also a bunch of sculptures representing the Stations of the Cross. Okay, I'm not a practicing Christian, but even I know, I think, that the Stations of the Cross, don't they represent like the different stages in Jesus' life? I mean, this here obviously is the Last Supper, right? Isn't that Jesus sitting in the middle? Yeah, look at that, breaking bread, looking all handsome. And then these are all the, I always forget, are they disciples or apostles? Disciples, the 12 disciples? I don't know, is that 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I don't know. Golly, I need to go back to Bible school. Actually, I never went to Bible school to begin with. Oh, maybe I should have spent some time reading that Gideon's Bible in my room last night. But here's where it starts to get really good. There's a Roman soldier nailing Christ to the cross. Look at that. Yikes. Going right through his wrist, and look at his face. Screaming in agony, calling out. Man, I get a real S&M vibe from this kind of thing. I'm not sure if these are in order or what. I guess here they're stripping off his robe. Here he's laying under the cross. Over here he's carrying the cross. There he's crawling with the cross. I don't know. Like I said, I guess I need to spend more time reading Gideon's Bible. But speaking of the cross, here we are at the base of it, and it doesn't look like it's lined with neon. I thought there'd be like neon tubes going all the way up. Golly, that's a big cross. Only matched by the size of the gift shop. Apparently there's a huge gift shop in that building. Okay, all these other Stations of the Cross are pretty intense. Here's Christ, I guess, after he came down off the cross. I thought he rose off the cross. Oh, I guess this is after they pulled him off to put him in that cave. And, you know, say what you will about this religious iconography. The bronze work here is pretty impressive. You know, they put every single one of those lash marks on him. And that's where they stuck the sword in. Okay, speaking of the sword, before I leave this place, before my hat blows off or I blow away, well, I gotta visit the granddaddy of all the Stations of the Cross. Here is Christ on the cross. Oh, and it looks like it lights up at night. That's good. Wow, people write their names on this? Isn't that like super bad juju? I mean, Alex, Francie, Emily. Then all these other people wrote their names on the ground. I don't know. It seems like it would be very sacrilegious to graffiti on Jesus. Okay, I guess they technically didn't write on Jesus, but still. Anyway, like I was saying, the bronze work here is pretty impressive. And what's really interesting is this is right off the interstate. All them big rigs. I bet you some of these truckers. Well, my understanding is that many truckers can be pretty conservative Christian folk. I'll bet you a lot of those truckers, you know, touch their, I don't know, what do truckers carry in their cab? Religious truckers. Like I personally, little known fact, have a little Buddha in my rig. So whatever the equivalent of that is, I bet when these truckers pass that, they, you know, say amen. And then there's these other guys on either side of Jesus, and I don't know who they are. I guess these are just random dudes who happen to be getting crucified at the same time. Like maybe that's Brian. Willis Brian. Yeah, I don't know. Their names are lost to history, but we all remember Jesus, especially here in Texas. Okay, we're here at the last thing I have pinned on my map, and I know I'm only driving across the Texas Panhandle. If I was driving across the entire state of Texas, this video would be much longer. But as it is, we have arrived at the final point of interest that I found in my research, and that is the Leaning Tower of Texas. Okay, I guess it's a water tower that's leaning, probably because this dang wind blew it over. And I guess it was kind of used as a tourist attraction. We're right off old Route 66. So back in the day, I guess the guy who owned it wanted to use it. Oh, gross. Sorry, I just happened to look down and saw this bottle full of piss. Have some class, people. I thought you weren't supposed to mess with Texas. Anyway, I guess this was a tourist attraction. There was a gas station here back in the day when old Route 66 was a thing. But now it's just a quirky photo op. And I guess the idea is you're supposed to have a friend or something with you to take your picture and make it look like you're holding up the tower. Can I do it? Okay, I came over here because this dude is traveling across America on a Harley Davidson. And sir, where are you from?
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm from Switzerland.
From Switzerland?
Yes.
You came all the way from Switzerland to travel Route 66?
To Chicago, and now I travel to Los Angeles.
Wow, what a dream. This is your bike?
No, I rent it.
Wow, look at that. He's got everything packed in that one bag, huh? That's everything you need?
Yes.
Wow, good for you. It's really nice to meet somebody who's living their dream. Not everybody does that. And he stopped at the Leaning Tower. That's cool. So where's your next stop?
Amarillo.
Amarillo. Are you going to the Cadillac Ranch?
Yes.
All right. I was there yesterday. It's cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Safe travels.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. What a cool guy. I just love meeting people doing inspirational stuff. Look at him. He's got his camera set up. He's taking a picture of himself holding the tower up, which I'm sure will come out better than the picture I took. Because, by the way, while I was taking that picture, the dang wind blew my phone over onto the ground, and now the screen is cracked. Fortunately, my next stop is Oklahoma City, so I'm sure I can find a screen repair shop somewhere out there that can take care of me before it's time to shoot my next video on this grand and glorious road trip through America's heartland.